Can you hear me now? Okay, sounds like yes. Okay. Oh, I heard Mercury was in retrograde or something. Anyway, okay, it's done happened again. It's done happened again. Yeah, no, my mic was unplugged, so that keeps happening. Okay, so Diddy got sued again. Now, the thing that made me a little bit interested in covering this like right away, he got sued today. This lawsuit dropped today. And the thing that made me interested in covering this, so right away, was that this lawsuit seems to be based on things that were testified about at trial by Cassie and by Jane Doe. So I have the filing here, and it was filed, like I said again, today. This was in the Central District of California by Michael Igiawoko. Igiawoko, I would say, is maybe. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, Michael, he sued Diddy. He sued Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, and some other businesses. He's suing the Wynn Resorts Company. He is suing Vici Properties. Now, this is only a 14-page lawsuit. It is not filed by Busby. Busby is not the lawyer here, and neither is Tyrone Blackburn, if you were wondering. It says, comes now plaintiff as an individual by and through his attorneys and complains as follows. He lists the parties, himself, Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, and Vici Properties is one of the defendants. This is supposedly a New York corporation that operates the Palazzo. That's a luxury hotel and casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Then you have the Wynn Resorts being sued as well. Wynn Resorts Limited, a Nevada corporation that operates the Wynn, a luxury hotel and casino in Vegas. He's also suing Northwood Investors, which is a limited liability company operating the London Hotel. So it's the company that owns or operates the London Hotel. This is the luxury hotel in LA. And collectively, the Palazzo, the Wynn, and the London hotels / casinos are... Sorry, I lost my spot. Are known as the hotel defendants. Plaintiff, the person suing, is informed and believes that the hotel defendants knowingly facilitated and participated in the unlawful acts described herein by providing accommodations and services to defendant Combs under aliases. Okay, so these are the hotel defendants. Who are the hotel defendants? That's the Palazzo, the Wynn Hotel in Vegas, and the London Hotel in LA. So the other two are the Palazzo and the Wynn are in Vegas. The London is in LA, that's California. And these are the hotel defendants. The hotel defendants, allegedly, according to this lawsuit, knowingly facilitated and participated in the unlawful acts described herein by providing accommodations and services to defendant Combs under aliases, including Mr. Star. So they would provide services and, quote, accommodations to Diddy and he was using different names. The defendants, John Doe Associates, there's the Roe entities, John Doe Associates. So they're just adding other ones. He's like, there's other people involved here. I just don't know their names. I don't know their names. I don't know who they are right now. But if I find out, I'll add them here. Okay, so then the jurisdiction argument that's made, and then they get to the factual allegations. Now, some of this stuff sounds very familiar to the previous cases that we have read, and I have read to y'all with y'all on this channel. A lot of it sounds eerily familiar and similar, but at this point, I mean, that doesn't really mean one thing or another because we've all heard these stories. Anybody could say anything. So that being said, I have sympathy for people. I certainly have sympathy for legitimate victims. I hope that every victim gets, justice that they deserve and that they require and that they want that will make them feel whole. That being said, I also know firsthand people can lie in a lawsuit, and they do. So I don't know. Let's read through these factual allegations. I have kind of skimmed through here, but I was going really quick. I was just trying to make sure that there was no like personal information, on accident before I went live. So I did read it, but I'll be able to have more of analysis as we go forward here than I was on that first skim through. So here's the factual allegations. It says this case is another chapter in the sad tale of sexual battery, trafficking, and civil conspiracy arising from the lurid proclivities of disgraced music mogul Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Paragraph 16, in or around 2018, plaintiff, that's the person suing, met Mr. Combs for the first time. It was 2018 is when they met, okay? Diddy hired plaintiff, who at all relevant times was a commercial worker. Plaintiff was led to believe that he was engaging in consensual work with adult women, including Cassie and Jane Doe, unaware that these women were actually being coerced or trafficked by Diddy. Now, this is going to be difficult for Michael to prove. Why? Because in Diddy's federal criminal trial, he was tried for trafficking, which included this coercion or force or fraud component. But the jury, whether you disagree with their verdict or not, they did not return a verdict for guilty on these. So the fact that this plaintiff today, nearly a month after Diddy's not guilty finding, I'm just telling y'all what to expect, is going to have a difficult time proving anybody was coerced or trafficked, specifically Cassie and Jane, because the jury did find him not guilty on that. Now, that being said, there are perhaps different standards for specifically coercion, elements of trafficking when it comes to civil, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But I am noticing that as a little bit of an issue that I'm spotting right off the bat. These services included, acts. Plaintiff provided these services, the person suing provided Diddy these services twice in California and 3 times in Nevada. So that's 5 total times right there. Combs, that's Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, orchestrated and observed the encounters, never participating in the encounters himself, but deriving gratification from directing and watching others engage in the acts that he choreographed. Now, I am a little bit hung up on this Nevada thing, okay, because in the federal criminal, let me take down this. I'm not working on the audio anymore. In the federal criminal trial that we all watched and went through together, y'all sat through it with me, so correct me if I'm wrong. But wasn't it the case that the primary locations they were focused on were the Miami residence of Diddy's, the California residence, and then maybe something about it being in New York? But like Nevada and Las Vegas, I don't remember that coming up like maybe ever. Like Ibiza came up, Jamaica came up, but it's almost like they just kind of like left out Vegas somehow for some reason. Maybe not. Y'all tell me. It's all a blur. It's a bit of a blur to me at this point, the Diddy trial. Okay, paragraph 20 goes on to say that it was Diddy who orchestrated and observed the encounters, never participating in the encounters himself, but deriving gratification from directing and watching others engage in these acts that he choreographed. Diddy insisted that plaintiff use body oil, so not baby oil, body oil, that Diddy personally supplied. Diddy personally supplied this body oil, and then he insisted that it be used. Plaintiff is informed and believes that the oil was laced with GH to the also having at the end a B, or similar substances. Okay, so again, we're getting this allegation or this suspicion that the baby oil was laced, but this was not alleged at trial. In fact, the government, Maureen Comey, said that they were not even bringing up the possibility that Diddy was drugging or lacing so-called lacing the baby oil. And so they're like, at trial, it did come up, like one of Diddy's lawyers was like, and you have no reason to believe this during Cassie's um, cross-examination. It was like, you have no reason to believe that there was drugs laced in the baby oil, right? And Cassie was like, no. But this is coming up again. This is not a criminal case. The one we're reading right now, is a civil case. This is a lawsuit filed by a former male escort, so-called former S worker, commercial S worker is how he described himself, with the appropriate censors applied and all. So he's saying Diddy insisted that he use this baby oil. Diddy personally supplied this body oil, not baby oil, body oil. And plaintiff, this guy suing Michael says he believes the oil was laced. And that was to incapacitate the plaintiff and the women involved. The plaintiff never consented to being given these substances or manipulated. He would never have agreed to participate in this had he known the truth. These events always occurred in hotels, the plaintiff says, owned and operated by the hotel defendants. Remember, we already went through and learned who those hotel defendants were. That is the Palazzo, the Wynn Casino Hotel in Vegas, and the London Hotel in LA. It goes on to say a hotel staff knowingly facilitated Diddy's illicit activities in the following ways. There's a bunch of ways that they, allegedly, quote, knowingly facilitated Diddy's illicit activities, and that is the following. A, reserving hotel rooms under aliases, including the name Mr. Star, to shield Diddy's identity. B, granting access to private or secured areas to Diddy in the hotel and his John Doe associates. So that's probably, like, if I had to guess, which, maybe I shouldn't, but I would assume, security might be these John Does, chiefs of staff type things, although John would be male. Other ways that this plaintiff is alleging that Diddy, other ways the plaintiff is alleging that the hotel staff knowingly facilitated Diddy's illicit activities, in addition to the ones we already mentioned, are escorting a plaintiff, this guy that's suing, and other participants in the encounters, so, other freak-off participants, to and from the rooms. So the hotel staff is participating by going back and forth and escorting people participating in the freak-offs in and out of the rooms. Other ways these staff allegedly, quote, knowingly facilitated Diddy's illicit activities were cleaning and removing paraphernalia used in the encounters, including oils, substances, and drug-related items. Also failing to report or investigate clear signs of illegal conduct. Okay, all right. The complaint goes on. It says, on information, this is paragraph 25, on information and belief, hotel staff accepted direction from Diddy's entourage. They're trying to lay out that, Diddy had this entourage. And the hotel staff would listen to the entourage to prepare the rooms for the encounters and conceal the evidence afterward. Okay, so they are really trying to bring in this group of hotels into these freak-off activities, thereby, quote, actively enabling and protecting his conduct. Now, am I saying any of this is true? No, I don't know, because I wasn't there. So I wasn't there. I'm just reading this lawsuit. Paragraph 26. Plaintiff is informed and believes that in at least one instance, Diddy paid $100,000 in cash to hotel staff at the Intercontinental Los Angeles. Right. So now here we're finally seeing him citing evidence that was in the Diddy trial. Remember that thing where it was like Diddy had paid $100,000 in cash to, what was his name? Was it Emilio Garcia? What was his name? Garcia, I believe. Eddie Garcia? Eddie, my angel Eddie. Yes. My angel Eddie. Remember that whole story? Well, now it was, remember, Eddie pled the fifth. Eddie pled the fifth to not have any criminal consequence from his taking of the bribe, or the so-called bribe. I don't know if they found bribery or not. I think he was not actually found guilty of the RICO. So I don't know if it, what counts as the underlying predicate crimes, but by Angel Eddie, he pled the fifth. So he could avoid criminal consequence, but what if this guy wanted to sue him for it? You know what I mean? He's not suing him for it. He is just using it as an example because look how this plaintiff frames it. He says he's informed and believes that at least in one instance, Diddy paid $100,000 in cash to hotel staff at the Intercontinental Los Angeles Century City Hotel to suppress surveillance footage showing Diddy assaulting Cassie. The plaintiff, the guy suing in this case, did not learn of this payment arrangement until June 3rd, 2025. This revelation establishes Diddy's pattern and practice of using money and prestige to make hotels do his bidding, and further confirmed to plaintiff his belief that the hotel defendants did play a role. Okay, so he's going to say this is why I'm allowed to toll the statute of limitations. There's newly discovered evidence I did not know about. And because of this newly discovered evidence, this guy is saying he should get to sue, toll the statute, basically, of limitations. Defendants, the hotels and Diddy and all of them. Oh, Diddy. So Diddy filmed these encounters without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. After Cassie and Jane Doe testified in Diddy's federal criminal trial, plaintiff says he came to understand the coercive nature of the scheme and has since suffered profound humiliation, emotional trauma, and psychological distress. Okay, so again, it is going to be difficult for him, I believe, to prove that something was coercive because the jury did find Diddy to be not guilty. I was reading somebody else's comments. Okay, so he's saying he's suffered as a result of this information coming out. He also said that he was filmed and he didn't know. So I don't know how he could know that he was filmed. Maybe it came up at trial. I'm really not sure. His first cause of action, so the first thing he's suing for, or the statute he's suing under, is sexual battery against all defendants. This is under the California Civil Code, 1708.5. Plaintiff realleges and incorporates the preceding paragraphs. Plaintiff was subjected to sexual contact without full and informed consent, as his ability to consent was nullified by the administration of substances and false pretenses. So he's saying he was coerced. Defendant Combs used his money, his status, his power to exert force and fear over plaintiff and convince plaintiff and the women into demeaning sexual acts. Defendant Combs watched, recorded, and took care of himself during the coercive sexual encounters. He caused and directed these actions and is liable for sexual battery. Okay. This is all allegations. I don't know. This is just in a lawsuit that was filed today. So I'm just reading the lawsuit. Paragraph 32, the hotel defendants' employees who facilitated these acts were acting within the course and scope of their employment. The hotel defendants are vicariously liable for their employees' negligent, reckless, or knowing facilitation of the unlawful acts by Diddy. The hotel defendants ratified or approved the conduct. As a direct and proximate result of this conduct, each and every one of these defendants has suffered and continues to suffer severe emotional distress, including profound humiliation, shame, degradation, anxiety, trauma-related symptoms, and psychological injury. Plaintiff has also experienced loss of dignity, reputational harm, and ongoing mental anguish stemming from his eventual realization of the coercive and exploitative nature of the scheme in which he was unknowingly entangled. These injuries have caused lasting harm that interferes with plaintiff's personal well-being, his relationships, and his quality of life. He has incurred and will continue to incur mental health related expenses as a result of his Diddy's conduct and all these other people he's suing, the hotels and all them. Says he's been damaged and suffered damages in the amount in excess of $500,000. Now, this is something else that kind of stands out from the other lawsuits, in my opinion. A lot of the other lawsuits that we read, not only against Diddy, but against a bunch of other people, are like, they want $10 million. They want $10 trillion. They want $30 billion. I mean, it's like, no. But he's suing not only Diddy, but he's also suing hotels. So the Intercontinental Hotel, for example, it doesn't exist anymore. He's not suing them, but they paid out a $10 million settlement to Cassie. Why did they do that? Who knows? It's all, mostly confidential. But this right, $500,000, it doesn't even seem like he's actually asking for that much after, going through and reading these lawsuits for the last year. The next paragraph says, it's 37. In subjecting plaintiff to the wrongful treatment described here, defendants acted willfully, maliciously to harm the plaintiff, consciously disregarded his rights. This constitutes malice. He's entitled, he says, to recovery of punitive damages against all of these defendants. Second cause of action is civil conspiracy. So, again, Diddy was already found not guilty on criminal conspiracy, the RICO, and conspiracy to do a few of these criminal, conspiracy type charges. But this is civil. And, maybe this will be a preponderance of the evidence standard. I'm really not sure. But this is the second cause of action, civil conspiracy. People were conspiring to harm this plaintiff, he claims. They were co-conspirators. They agreed and acted in concert to facilitate the coerced sexual encounters involving plaintiff and others. Defendants committed overt acts in furtherance of this so-called conspiracy. This is allegations in the lawsuit. The agreement and purpose beginning around 2018. The hotel defendants, through their employees and agents, entered into an agreement with the defendant, that's Diddy, to facilitate his illicit sexual exploitation schemes on hotel premises. Their objective was to knowingly support and conceal Diddy's coercive and substance-facilitated sexual encounters, including those involving this plaintiff. Then he says, paragraph 42, there were acts executed under an alias on multiple occasions. When this plaintiff says he was brought to hotel rooms to engage in sexual encounters directed by Diddy, the hotel defendants knowingly reserved these rooms under aliases, and most notably the name Mr. Star. So he's like, this was corroborated in the trial testimony. And so, yeah, I know that name, Mr. Star. He says this was in order to conceal, the purpose was to conceal Diddy's true identity and protect his privacy and his public image, which is not illegal, by the way. Diddy is allowed to use an alternate identity to protect his privacy and public image. What's not allowed is this other stuff, the concealing for the purpose of criminal behaviors. But protecting your privacy and your public image is not a criminal action. It's not a civil tort. But, I assume the reason this is put in here is to take it in context of the entire matter. Paragraph 43, facilitation by staff treatment. What does this mean? Facilitation by staff treatment. The hotel defendants, acting through staff and management, intentionally used aliases to book rooms for a, quote, Mr. Star or other pseudonyms, granted Diddy and plaintiff access to secured or restricted floors. So he's saying that Diddy got special treatment of having access to secured, restricted floors. So he got special star treatment. So Mr. Star could have his freak off. According to this lawsuit, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, but this plaintiff is saying also Diddy assisted in escorting, or all the defendants, the staff, staff treatment, assisted in escorting plaintiff and others to hotel rooms and shielded Diddy from detection by other guests and hotel security. Also allegedly allowed Diddy's personal assistants and entourage to supply and clean up paraphernalia such as oils, candles, Astroglide, and other materials for these encounters. The complaint goes on. This is paragraph 44. Concealment and protection of illicit activity. Hotel staff routinely cleaned up evidence, including bottles, powders, other signs of substance use, to maintain secrecy and protect Diddy's reputation. They acted to preserve his image by eliminating traces of wrongdoing from hotel records and physical premises. In at least one instance known to plaintiff, Diddy bribed hotel personnel. Now, I don't know if it counts as bribe. I don't know if it counts as offered money to in exchange for a tape, bought a tape. This was disputed at trial, and I'm not exactly sure what the jury decided on these specifics. So I'm not going to say Diddy bribed as a matter of law. I can absolutely see if you thought he did, and if it appears like it to you, I could see that. The existence of this payment arrangement reinforces the hotel's awareness and willingness to facilitate and conceal Diddy's misconduct. The complaint goes on. Paragraph 46. Plaintiff's post-knowledge reaction. Plaintiff did not learn of these payments or these aliases or the full extent of the hotel concealment practices until Diddy's federal criminal trial in May and June this year. And upon learning about this, plaintiff, the guy suing, says he understood that the hotel defendants had knowingly participated in an enterprise designed to facilitate non-consensual, coerced, and substance-involved sexual acts orchestrated by Diddy. The complaint goes on. Paragraph 47, continued conspiratorial conduct. By continuing to reserve rooms under aliases, provide no questions asked accommodations, and allow escorting and access, and facilitating cleanup efforts, the hotel defendants substantially assisted Diddy in carrying out his illegal conduct and enabled the continuation and expansion of the conspiracy. Paragraph 48, these coordinated actions constitute a conspiracy to engage in unlawful and harmful acts, to wit, as trafficking and as battery. As a direct and proximate result of Diddy's conduct and all these hotels and all of them, plaintiff, the guy suing, has suffered and continues to suffer severe emotional distress, including profound humiliation, shame, degradation, anxiety, trauma-related symptoms, and psychological injury. This plaintiff says he also experienced a loss of dignity, reputational harm, and ongoing mental anguish stemming from his eventual realization of the coercive and exploitative nature of the scheme in which he was unknowingly entangled. These injuries have caused lasting harm that interferes with his personal well-being, relationships, and quality of life. He says he has incurred and will continue to incur mental health-related expenses as a result of the defendants' conduct, all of them, each of them. He needs $500,000. Then he goes on to the third cause of action. This is the violation of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. This is the third cause of action. This is 18 U.S.C. Section 1595. Plaintiff realleges the rest. This Protection Act prohibits what? It prohibits knowingly recruiting, enticing, harboring, transporting, providing, obtaining, advertising, maintaining, patronizing, or soliciting a person by means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, or any combination of those for the purpose of causing that person to engage in a commercial act. Okay, so you need recruiting, enticing, harboring, transporting, providing, obtaining, advertising, maintaining, patronizing, or soliciting. You need one of those. A person, you need that. But you have to use a means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, has to have that. And you have to have for a purpose of causing a person to engage in a commercial act. Now, importantly, and I learned this in the Diddy trial, you do not have to actually complete or even attempt the commercial act. All you have to do is knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize. So you could just be harboring somebody that is for the purpose of eventually engaging in a commercial act, and maybe they didn't actually do it. Defendant Combs knowingly recruited, enticed, maintained plaintiff through a scheme involving coercion, manipulation, and the administration of substances without consent, all for the purpose of facilitating commercial acts from which Diddy derived personal gratification and benefit. Paragraph 54. Diddy, acting in concert with hotel personnel and other associates, orchestrated repeated encounters under false pretenses, using aliases, controlled environments, and substance-laced products. Now, I mean, this is information or belief. We don't know this for sure, but these are the allegations. Paragraph 55. Plaintiff is a victim of trafficking within the meaning of the act and is entitled to bring civil action under this trafficking act against both the primary violators and those who knowingly benefited from participation in the venture. The hotel defendants knowingly benefited from their involvement in Diddy's venture by receiving financial compensation from Diddy and his associates while facilitating the trafficking scheme. And this is another one of those, Pandora's box has truly been opened, because we talked about this in a previous lawsuit that we covered here too, having to do with Diddy. They're suing Diddy. And basically it's like now Cassie's getting sued for stuff that she testified to on her testimony. She is getting sued for stuff she testified to in her testimony. It's like, whoa, I wouldn't even ever thought of that. Well, now the hotels are getting sued because of things that were testified to in Cassie's testimony. As a direct and proximate, this paragraph 57, as a direct and proximate result, so you have to, this is where you have to show that the actions caused the so-called harm, the alleged harm. Direct and proximate result of the defendant's conduct, and each of them, plaintiff has suffered, consent, and continues to suffer severe emotional distress, including profound humiliation, shame, degradation, anxiety, trauma-related symptoms, and psychological injury. Plaintiff has also experienced a loss of dignity, reputational harm, and ongoing mental anguish stemming from this eventual realization. Plaintiff has incurred and will continue to incur mental health related expenses up to $500,000. Prayer for relief. Plaintiff prays for judgment against defendants as follows: general and special damages in an amount to be proven at trial, punitive and exemplary damages, statutory damages under 18 U.S.C. 1595, that's the Trafficking Victims Prevention Act, attorney's fees and costs, pre and post judgment interest, and that's hard to say, such other and further relief as the court deems just and proper. Plaintiff demands a jury trial. As you can see, this was dated as of yesterday, but it did just hit, or 2 days ago, excuse me. But it did just hit the docket today. Represented by Jonathan D. Evans from Salazar Evans, LLP. Jonathan D. Evans. Yeah, I don't know. I am looking at y'all's comments. Tongue twister, exactly. Exactly. Let me look up Salazar Evans and see what's going on over there. Premier litigation firm, they said. I'm going to pull it up. Hold on. It says Gatekeepers of Justice. Boutique litigation firm dedicated to fighting for you. Our attorneys. Where's the attorneys? They took it down or what? See, they have like our attorneys page, but it doesn't like lead to anything, and it's just, this is the attorneys or what? School abuse. So this is the type of cases they do. What are these pictures? Can anybody read this? It's Arabic. Personal injuries, civil rights, school abuse. So yeah, I mean, I guess, okay, well, that doesn't give us much info. Who is suing? Michael, what's his last name? Ijiawoko. No audio again? Or did Linda just get? Yeah, it would remind me of Slytherin. That was the suit. That was the I know. The stuff the housekeepers had to remove. Lazarus Salazar. I let's see, who is it? Hold on. It was the Evans one, right? I closed it. Let me pull it back up. Because maybe I could just look that person up. Let's see who's the lawyer. Jonathan D. Evans. Let's see. He's a surely that's not the same Jonathan Evans at law. Okay, yeah, here's his Instagram. Okay. I don't know if this is for sure the same Jonathan D. Evans, so I don't want to pull somebody up and that's not them, but okay. So yeah, the audio is fine. So I mean, I'm sure Diddy is gonna deny all allegations, all accusations, as he always does. The things that I found to be interesting as a takeaway about this one were the things I mentioned along the way. Like, he's not suing for like $10 billion. He's suing for 500,000, which is still a lot of money. I mean, that is a lot. It's $500,000. 4 planets are in retrograde. Great. Great. It feels like it. Also, another thing that I found interesting is that he is also re-alleging the GHB and the baby oil thing. And I'm also starting to wonder, like, is that going to become an excuse for even some people who weren't on the, laced on anything, but maybe it's just easier to, explain what you were doing? I don't know. I have no idea. I truly have no idea. I was not there. I cannot get into the mind of anybody that was there, who was there truly. Yeah, I just wanted to come through and tell y'all about this lawsuit today. That's all I really had for this one. I have a few things that I need to go and do. Some things in the work I'm excited about. In the works I'm excited about. So, yeah, if you would be so kind as to donate to the legal fund, it is listed down below, linked down below. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's all I really had for this one. Thanks to the mods. Shout out to y'all. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. Who knows? We'll see. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, neither are opinions. Love and communicate. Bye.